The Sony PlayStation 4 originally launched in 2013 and saw multiple revisions, including the PS4 Slim and PS4 Pro, all in all forming a terrific console that was being sold all the way until recently as it was replaced by the new PlayStation 5. Hey, how's it going? I'm Josh from 91Tech, and today we're taking a general look at the PlayStation 4. How does it hold up in 2021, and could it even be worth buying? First off, let's start this discussion by talking about whether or not it's worth it to upgrade to a PS5 if you already own a PS4. Simple answer, yes. The PS5 might be hard to find, but assuming you can, it's at a pretty fair price of $500 or $400 for the digital edition with no disc tray. It is a huge, giant upgrade over the PS4, bringing 4K gaming and ridiculously fast load times thanks to the SSD. Graphics keep getting better, and more PS5 exclusive games will be coming out as time goes on. The PS5 is also completely backwards compatible with the PS4, with only a couple obscure exceptions, and so all your favorite titles will carry on over to the newer hardware. That being said, just because the PS5 is worth upgrading to doesn't mean you need to. If you have a PS4 Pro right now, I'd say you definitely don't need to upgrade, as that console can play some games in 4K, and in the very least tends to perform quite well, even in more demanding titles such as Cyberpunk 2077, which was an absolute mess on the base PS4. The PS4 Pro, in my opinion, is good enough to get you through up to another couple years before you're really going to start to feel the need to upgrade, as games straight up stop being released for the older system. I'll link my full console buying guide in the description below, by the way, and that will include Xbox systems and the Nintendo Switch. As for the PS4 Slim or the original PS4, that's where I'd be more tempted to make the jump to the PS5. Those systems can only output up to 1080p, and so if you have a 4K TV, the PS5 is going to be a massive improvement. That being said, games are still going to be coming out for a decent amount of time for the PS4 as the overall user base slowly migrates to the PS5. There are already games that are PS5 only, such as the Demon's Souls remaster, which looks amazing, but that's not to say the PS4 can't run terrific looking games. Just look at Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us 2 from 2020. Both games pushed the hardware to its limits and managed to bring a gorgeous graphical experience. With the PS4, you don't need to upgrade yet if you can't afford it or just don't want to spend the money. Just keep in mind that price at $400 or $500 isn't going down anytime soon, on sale or otherwise, so if you're waiting for a price reduction, you're going to be waiting a long time, and you might as well just pick one up now. If you want to buy a PS4 and don't want to buy a PS5 right now for some reason, you're probably going to have to turn to the used market. The PS4 Slim does seem to be sold by some retailers for an average price of around $300, although that likely will go down on sale or clearance here and there. That $300 mark though is just way too much money, given the PS5 digital edition is only $400. I mean, come on, for only $100 more, you're getting a much better system that should last you at least 5 years. I don't recommend buying the PS4 in 2021. You should really save your pennies and get the PS5. But the used market might be a little tempting if you're able to find a deal. Looking at eBay.com, the PS4 Slim often goes for around $200, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I'm not gonna lie, anything more than $200 just straight up isn't worth it. If you wait around, you should be able to find the PS4 on sale for $200 brand new. Of course, you might find a bundle with games or something that's worth it to you on eBay, but I think these consoles are just still a bit overpriced right now due to the stock of the PS5 being so limited. So while I don't think the original or the Slim is particularly worth it, the PS4 Pro is definitely not worth it. I can't even find it from retailers anymore, and on eBay it goes for like $300. Again, only $100 less than the PS5 digital edition. So all in all, is the PS4 still worth buying? Not anymore. The new consoles just came out, and because they're still hard to find, the used market is still pretty overpriced. If you decide to buy one, that's on you. There's definitely deals around, you just need to look a bit. If you have a PS4, should you upgrade? Also up to you. I think the PS5 is definitely worth going to, but if you're wanting to wait a bit longer, the PS4 right now is by no means obsolete, and the PS4 Pro still holds up pretty darn well. And of course, the PS5 is still super sketchy when it comes to availability. Definitely don't buy it off eBay from a scalper, it's not worth it. And if you can't find one at all, don't worry, as your PS4 is still a great system. And I'm not just saying that, the PS4 really is a great system, even over 7 years later. The hardware is older, but the games, oh the games, they're abundant, and some of the graphics, the PS4 PS4 is capable of pushing is unbelievable. How on earth is a 2013 machine capable of playing a game that looks this good with Ghost of Tsushima? It's honestly breathtaking. But then you also have titles like Cyberpunk 2077, which originally did come out for the PS4 and ran like utter garbage, looking and playing just terrible. This was to the point they actually removed it from the PlayStation Store. It was laggy, fuzzy, and just bad and completely unoptimized. And unfortunately, that's a trend you might start to see continue as developers force their games that are really too powerful for older hardware to be released on it anyway, as the next-gen console user base is still relatively small compared to the Xbox One and PS4. But titles intentionally optimized, such as most Sony titles like Spider-Man Miles Morales, will still look and play great, so the future isn't entirely hopeless. Let's take a couple minutes here and look at the different models of the PS4 because there's been a couple. Of course, I own the original here, which came out in 2013, and my family got it for the Christmas of 2014. It's done us well since then, and the only weird issue is it likes to spit out discs at us. Why? Well, see this little rubber foot here under the eject button? For some reason, I don't know why they placed it here, but having it rest on there puts a little bit too much pressure on the eject button, causing it to trigger at seemingly random times. We're able to fix this by propping up the console with some game cases on either side, so that works, but still super annoying. Sony has had this fascinating trend in recent history where they'll start their consoles with a completely far out weird design and then make it look more normal with their next revision. Look at the original PS3 and then the PS3 Slim, and then look at the PS5 right now. Of course, we don't know what an eventual PS5 Slim might look like, but there's no question the PS5 is extremely unique. And then with this PS4, it also looks quite different from past consoles, bringing back the glossy element on half of it and then matte black on the other half. It's diagonally sloped with sharp edges, a bold move and one I actually like quite a bit. Although the glossy plastic for me is a big nope, it scratches too easily and fingerprints and dust show like crazy. It certainly wasn't a perfect design, and in late 2016, sure enough, a more simple and standard design of the PS4 released with the PlayStation 4 Slim, which was a decent bit smaller and embraced an entirely matte black finish with curved edges, and it looks fantastic in my opinion. I'm not sure if I really like it better than the original, but I do appreciate the more minimalistic approach. Functionality-wise, the Slim is basically identical to the original PlayStation 4, with the same ports minus an optical audio output port. It reduced the weight from 6.1 pounds to 4.6 pounds, which is impressive, although now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure why you'd be physically carrying around the console much. This console, like the original PS4, is stuck at 1080p, which is a bit disappointing, as the Xbox One S actually can output 4K, although it is locked at 1080p gaming. The PS4 Pro, which came out at the same time as the Slim, can output 4K, and in looks it's just a bigger version of the Slim, kind of like with an extra layer, and of course it has a significant boost in power. All this was great and all, but let's talk about the thing you'll be seeing a lot more often than the console itself, and actually holding in your hands, the DualShock 4 controller. It can feel a bit small, and I have always preferred the offset joysticks like on Xbox controllers, but practically speaking, the DualShock 4 does a terrific job playing games, and I think it's nice looking to boot. It feels good in the hands, albeit again sometimes a bit cramped because of the size, and the buttons are all very tactile and satisfying to push. The light bar on the back there was removed with the new PS5 controller for a reason. I thought it was super cool when I first got it, but having to deal with it while playing a game or watching Netflix in a dark room can be a bit annoying and distracting, and the light can also reflect off your TV, but it's not a big deal. And then there's the touchpad, a feature barely utilized except for a few select games like Infamous Second Son, but it does exist. This is a great controller, and I used to really like it, but the DualSense controller with the PS5 completely blows it out of the water. The DualSense alone is almost a reason to upgrade to the PS5. It completely changes the experience with amazing haptics and vibrations that somehow just feel oh so natural. For example, in Astro's Playground, which comes with a PS5, when you run on grass, it feels like you're running in grass. When you're skating, it feels like you're skating. It's crazy. Obviously, this is something that may never be fully utilized in games. Right now, it only pops up here and there, but as time goes on, I'm hoping developers take advantage to add just that extra layer of immersion. And the triggers on the DualSense as well are super cool. They can tense up, making them harder or easier to push depending on the situation. I feel like I've talked more about the DualSense than the DualShock 4 here, but that's partly just to show the contrast and how much that has improved with the next generation of gaming, and that's purely on the Sony side. The new Xbox Series X controller really isn't much different from the Xbox One controller, but all in all, the DualShock 4 is very functional. It looks nice and it feels nice and will more than do the job to play your favorite titles. I like it. It just doesn't come anywhere near close to what Sony's accomplished with the DualSense. Speaking of your favorite titles, where the PS4 has always managed to shine the brightest is with its absolutely massive game library, including a ton of exclusives not available to play anywhere else. Some like Horizon Zero Dawn or Detroit Become Human can be found found elsewhere now, but originally were exclusive. But even now, there's still a ton of games you can only play on PS4 or PS5. The Uncharted Collection and Uncharted 4, Last of Us Remastered and Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, God of War, Infamous Second Son, the beautifully remastered Ratchet & Clank, or also remastered Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, Bloodborne, and so many more. These are all games you can't find on PC or Xbox. You need a PS4 or PS5 to play them, and that in and of itself is enough reason to go for PlayStation right now, at least in my opinion. Not to mention some of the other greats of the generation, like Red Dead Redemption 2 or The Witcher 3, plus dozens more. Sony's exclusives just keep getting better, and while I love Microsoft's more consumer-friendly approach at the moment, there is a reason I bought the PS5 and not the Xbox Series X. One thing that the PS4 doesn't have going for it though is the lack of backwards compatibility. You can't play PS1, PS2, or PS3 games on this system. At least the PS5 can play PS4 games, but still, the Xbox One, for example, can play a huge library of Xbox 360 games and even original Xbox titles, which is just insane. Sony's answer to this has been PlayStation Now, and it's not a very good answer. I'm not going to spend any time talking about PlayStation Now. It's a streaming service from Sony that offers a wide range of PS3 and PS4 titles. It costs a monthly fee, and it's probably not worth it. But there are some older games that are on there that you can't find anywhere else. Another subscription fee to take into account is PlayStation Plus, which is basically a necessity for probably most people, as you need it to play online multiplayer titles. Some free-to-play games like Fortnite or Warzone don't require you to have it, but it's still something you'll probably want. A year of PlayStation Plus will cost you $60, and I do recommend going for that because month to month ends up being a whole lot of money a whole lot faster. All of this is fun, but it's ultimately just some facts about the PS4 that if you already owned one, you probably knew already. And if you don't own a PS4 and kind of want one, honestly, don't get one. It's a harsh answer, and typically I like to take a more middle of the road approach, but here I just can't do that. The PS4 isn't worth buying right now. Even if you're getting a heck of a deal on a used system or a major discount, the PS5 is just such an upgrade. I really think you'll regret not saving up and buying the better system. Not only can it play every single PS4 game you might want to play, but it often can play it with better resolutions, better frame rates, and in the best of cases, it'll get an update to specifically be enhanced on PS5. And if you really want a used, cheaper console, I actually think the Xbox One S is a better choice, as it's able to play all the Xbox exclusive titles coming out in the next year or two, as stated by Microsoft. My full console buying guide again is linked in the description if you're curious. If you own a PS4 right now, whether the original model or the Slim, and you're unsure of whether or not you should buy the PS5, then buy the PS5, because if you're in a place where you're thinking about it, I imagine you can actually afford it. And because there won't be sales anytime soon, you might as well just go for it. You know, assuming you can actually find it in stock. But if you're watching this hoping to reaffirm your desire to stick with your PS4 and maybe can't afford the PS5, good news, I think you're good to go too. As said earlier, games will keep coming out for the PS4 a while longer, though not every game, and even when that stops, you do still have access to an absolutely huge library of amazing PS4 titles that can take hours and hours of your time if you let it. The PS5 might be a huge upgrade, but it's not one that you need, at least yet. And waiting a couple more years isn't going to kill you. If you can afford the PS5, I'm always going to recommend it, but otherwise I do truly believe the PS4 is still a great and super fun system, and one that'll continue to hold up for the foreseeable future. But what do you guys think? Any of you own a PS4? What's your favorite game for it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you found this video interesting or helpful, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content just like this. You can follow me over on Twitter and Instagram at 91_tech if you'd like to, for some reason. And with that all being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm Josh from 91tech, and I will see you all next time.